Hello, back again, GotAUkulele.com. It's review day, a little bit late this weekend because I've been on holiday. But we're back, and this one is a really interesting, odd, you might say, looking instrument. This is the Lonely Player ukulele by Ashbury Instruments, Ashbury UK brand, kind of the house brand of hobgoblin music. You may recall I've reviewed one of theirs before. It was pretty decent. And it's a travel instrument. Ashbury Lonely Player. What a strange name. A bit creepy. I mean, who's lonely? If you're lonely and you're a player, you got no friends. Anyway, Ashbury, made in workshops in Vietnam, so Far Eastern, but we're seeing more and more of stuff coming out of workshops in Vietnam. It seemed to be at better sort of quality control. And whilst at first glance this looks to be a box with a neck stuck on it, which it is, actually when we get into it, there's quite a bit more to it. It's very nicely finished, it's nicely put together. What we've got is a box with sides which are kind of curved and carved around, made of sapele wood, which is very similar to mahogany, and that's got a solid top, spruce top, and a solid spruce back as well. And yeah, it's a box, but it's a box with some nice chamfered edges. It's all finished in satin. It's got these sort of nice curves to it. There's quite a lot. There's a lot more going on with this than just simply a box with a neck bolted on, and it is bolted on. There is a bit more to it than that. We've got a side sound port here, which is very, very small. I don't think it does very much, but it does show you how thick that side wood is. But it is fairly resonant. And we've got the tuners down here, a kind of a elongated tail block, very odd. Yeah, and that's kind of, you see it better there, it's kind of stuck on the end, but with this really nice chamfering here. They are the same geared tuners as on the standard Ashburys. They're pretty decent quality. Okay, they're buttons, but I don't think you could get away with friction pegs on something that tight in space. And you get this really strange sort of lip to it here, and that you'll see when I play it is to protect your arm from pressing on the tuners. We've got a floating bridge, so you need to set this like you do on a banjo for intonation, checking it. Basically the top of the 12th fret needs to be exactly halfway between the top of the saddle and the nut, and bracing that inside, if I can show you, not very well, is a kind of a curved brace, and that's stopping the pressure of the bridge point that's pressing hard down with the string tension from collapsing the top. And that's really the only construction, but it is really well made. There's no glue everywhere. The joints are really nicely done. Everything's put in place pretty well. That neck is single piece sapele. It's a nice 38mm wide up at the nut. It's comfortable. It's satin. It's one piece. And it's all right. We've got 12 nickel silver frets. They're all flush to the body because they're set directly into the sapele wood. They're dressed really, really well. You may be counting 13. It isn't 13 frets. That top one there is the nut. That's effectively a 0 fret because the strings, like on the Rhesus sticks, run through holes in the top of that shaped headstock there. And completing that deal, the strings look to me, they look very like D'Addario titaniums, but I can't believe they are for the price, because these are available for £45. That'd be an £8 pack of strings on a 45 quid instrument. I don't believe it. I could be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. And that's it, 45 quid. It's billed as a travel ukulele. First thing I don't quite get about it is actually it's not really any smaller than something like an Ohana O Nino. So you're not gaining anything by sticking the headstock down here. It's just long in a different way. And it's pretty thin, and it doesn't have a sound hole, so it's not going to be particularly loud. Although it did surprise me, it's louder than I expected. Now, I'm not going to wax too lyrical about the sound. I'm trying to find nice things about it, and I'll come on to why in a moment. But first of all, it's really light, but it's terribly off balance because of the weight of these tuners down here. It's just wanting to dip down in the body. And I can't see where you would attach a strap button without weakening this point, because it's pretty congested in there, and you wouldn't want a strap running up through those tuners. And I don't know where you'd put one here either. and I don't know where you'd strap one at the headstock, so this is where this lip comes in, because if you're playing it, your arm goes over the top and that lip stops your arm pressing on the tuners. Unfortunately, it's still really uncomfortable because that lip is quite sharp on the edges and it kind of digs into your arm. And the comfort is just as much of a problem up here at the headstock. You see, on something like the Risa Stick Solids, they're curved off, and when you're playing low position chords, you can hook your fingers around the top of them. This shaping at the top is actually really sharp, and it digs into my hand on certain chords. It's really uncomfortable. So it's uncomfortable to hold, it's uncomfortable to hold standing up, difficult to fit a strap button to, difficult to fret. However, the setup is really good. The frets are really nice, the intonation's good. The action's really good as well. There's something about it I'm liking, and I don't know what, because I'm going to play it now and you'll probably start laughing. Strummed, it's really quite disappointing. It sounds like it looks. It's like rubber bands on a margarine tub. Fingerpicked is nicer. It's about finding the right sweet spot, and I'm experimenting here. It's not playing it where you'd expect at the end of the fingerboard, but you sort of play it over here, and there's something about it I quite like. I think it's a great ukulele for practice. You know those instruments that people say, oh, I want something really quiet that I can play at home without annoying the family or the neighbours? Maybe this is it, but, the sound isn't great. See, this is hurting my hand. Kind of sounds like a loud version of a Risa Stick played acoustically with no pickup. It's louder than that, but it's not as loud as many other ukuleles. But when you dig in and you pick it, it's accurate. It plays as an instrument. It's just not got a very good tone. I'd love to find a way of putting a pickup on it. People are talking about putting contact pickups in there, but it's just about where does the wire go? I like neat solutions myself. I even thought about drilling a hole in here and going in that way and putting a contact pickup on the underside, because I think it might make for an interesting project. As an acoustic, though, it's not great. But it is good and accurate and really cheap if you want something that's going to be really quiet to play at night. And I quite like it picked. Something about it, and I like the build as well. See, the minute you strum it, it goes. Yeah, it doesn't get a good one on the scores for sound. It does, though, for looks, and it does for value for money, and it does for fit and finish, because it's very well made. For 45 quid, you might want to go for it and have a bit of an experiment. Just don't expect miracles on the tone. You've heard it. The gain's up on this microphone. It's pretty quiet and it's pretty thin. The Ashbury Lonely Player, interesting concept. I think it would have been great with a pickup and a bit more of a rethink, but as a pure acoustic, no, I don't think so. Back next week, another instrument coming for you. See you very soon. Bye-bye.